It is 61 days to the presidential and parliamentary elections. Good afternoon and welcome to Election Brief. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125 on all our social media handles and around the world on myjoyonline.com. Election headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. It's also brought to you by German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, as well as Chopbox Technologies, a convenience service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development. My name is Faustina Sapo. Please stay for details. Well, Organised Labour is locked up in a crunch meeting as they decide the fate of their upcoming strike. Let's cross over now live to my colleague James Aveji and MFR Deti on the ground. What can you report, James? James, you have to position rightly for me to hear you clearly. Just give us an update. What happened in that meeting?
Just focus on them.
I will reconnect the lines to try and get James' attention.
Firstly, the TUC-led Organised Labour has just finished that meeting and have made the announcement. Nothing has changed from the earlier announcement of the intended strike on October 10. I'll give you all of the build up to that, but there's an update currently ongoing on what government has sent to the TUC by the TUC Secretary General. Let's pick that now and come back.
Yes. Yeah, tree. Oh, it's low. Yeah, tree.
Well, foresee that the update going on there. The first part has just ended, but we'll get all the details from that. But what happened was that this morning, all the various labor unions, including TEU, NAGRAT, NAT, and all of them converged here at the conference room of the TUC on that earlier indication that they would have to meet today to deliberate over one, government's call for more time to take a decision on the demands of Organised Labour. Remember, they have among several things called for an immediate declaration of state of emergency on all mining activities, and two, that government must revoke licenses, must revoke the LI 2462 that allows for mining in forest reserves. Those are the things they put before government, and government says it needs more time. Now, before the meeting, Organised Labour converged, and when we entered the conference room, there was a lot of charging in the conference room, led by Angel Kabonu, who chanting songs and all of that, charging the atmosphere before the meeting starts. And then the media was asked to excuse them. They've been in the meeting for about 45 minutes, and then were called back to the address by the TUC Secretary General to tell us that that their decision, after all was said and done, is that they will proceed on that. I mean, let me take you to Mr. Ansan to have some more interactions with him on what he has been updating. Mr. Ansan. Mr. Ansan. Let's have a quick interaction with Joshua Ansan, who is Secretary General of the TUC. Mr. Ansan, you are live on Joy News. Thanks for your time. You've been given some update on some document from government. Just give us an update on what you've been sharing with us from the demands from government, which you say are not enough to meet what you've been calling for.
No, what I mean is that after the president meeting, we promise our members that whatever happens, you come back and meet with them. We are met today, and the decision has been made. And that's the decision I actually announced at the press conference.
Apart from asking for more time, what has government been demanding?
Ask for any time. And I want to debunk that. When we went to the meeting, government did not ask for extension of time or whatever. We discussed the issues and came up with its responses.
Have you had the written response from government as well?
Yes, we have.
What are the details?
I cannot tell you.
But essentially, did they ask that you postpone the 10th October?
Nobody has asked anybody to postpone anything. It was a discussions that we had, as simple as that.
What was the conclusion?
The conclusion is what I've told you in the meeting.
You say that the proposals from government doesn't meet your demand. What were the proposals?
I've said it in the press conference. I don't want to repeat myself.
And so the indication is that you are going on strike on 10th October.
I haven't said that. What I'm saying is that our strike notice still remains, period.
Thank you. And so Mr. Joshua Ansah is Secretary General of the TUC, giving us some more clarifications on the position of that. Prof. Jampo, Prof, let's have a word or two with you.
Hear everything that he said.
I did. Just interested in the update from government before the meeting.
What's the problem again? Why? What do you want me to say? You always do this to knock heads together. Our strike notice on 10th remains unchanged because Organized Labour is not pleased with the proposals of the president. Simple. What
I was interested in what the proposals of the president were.
Go. They read it here. They read it here. We are not here to repeat. The point is that the strike notice remain unchanged. That's all. That's the message we want to carry to Ghanaians. So let's see what happens. If between now and 10 something happens, we'll see. If nothing happens, we go on strike. Simple.
Professor Jampo is UTAG president for the University of Ghana. And so, firstly, that's the update. Nothing has changed after that meeting between all the labor unions, Organized Labour. The notice for, strike action on 10th October still remains unchanged. And that's the situation here at the TUC4C.
Thank you, James Abeji, for bringing us that update. Just if you're tuning in, Organized Labour has served notice that indeed their strike would continue unabated 10th of October, which is safe to say in the next 48 hours. Well, let's do some other stories now on Election Brief. We move to the camp of the NDC because the NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, says the NPP only paid 15% of the equipment cost for the District Road Improvement Program. He says this leaves the next administration with no choice but to fund the remaining 85%. During his tour of the Savannah region, he urged the NPP to stop politicizing every issue and promised to upgrade the Tamale-Salaga Road if elected.
It is such a shame that 8 years since we left office, this Tamale-Salaga Road is still in the condition in which it was. And I've been going with the media all over, all the regions that we've gone to. They've seen the nature of the roads. And anytime I say this, until you travel on those roads, you won't know what I'm talking about. I've been to 7 regions now. The 12,000 kilometers of roads they say they've done, they should come and show us where those roads are, because we can't find those roads. We just came from Abromasi. The road is in such a poor shape. Tamale-Salaga Makango was giving on contract, and work was ongoing until we left office. And after we left office, to come back 8 years later and see the road still in this condition, then you wonder where those 12,000 kilometers of roads are. Binjai to Kendege Road needs to be done. There are many... There are many communities that were electrifying before we left office. We did a 10-key project to electrify some communities along this stretch. Our brothers came and left it. When it's getting to election, they behave as if they are going to do it. As soon as they lose, then they abandon it. And so elections are coming. They're going to come with their sweet promises again. They're going to come. Suddenly they bought road equipment with common fund money. They've mortgaged the common fund and paid only 15% down payment. The NDC is going to win this election. It means that 85% of the payment for the drip equipment is going to be done by an NDC government. And yet they are putting their posters on the equipment as if they have fully paid for it. They paid only 15% deposit. And the next government has to come and take the debt and pay for it. And that's why I said nobody has a right to paste his posters on those equipment, because the equipment belong to the people of Ghana. We're going to come with a 24-hour economy policy, which is going to allow businesses to run more than 8 hours a day. And as my brother told you, we'll have to amend some legislation. We'll have to amend the labor laws in order that it can allow people to work, for businesses to run longer hours and people to work additional shifts. We also have to amend some of the customs and tax laws so that we can give incentives to the businesses that would run the 24-hour economy. So there's a lot that we're going to do. If people are walking, we must be jogging. If people are jogging, we must be running. If people are running, we must be flying. Because Ghana is a nation in a hurry. We're going to set up farmers service centers in all the districts. We created this district. This is an NDC district. There's no reason why this district is in the hands of the MPP. We're going to chase the elephant out of this constituency and chase it back into the bush. And so we're going to bring farmer service centers here. Each farmer service center is going to have 15 tractors, harrows, plows, planters, fertilizer, condemn, everything that you need for agriculture. And so all our farmers...
Stay with the NDC now, because John Mahama is meeting with a pre-election assessment team from the West African Elders Forum led by the former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan this afternoon. With just 61 days to election 2024, the push for a peaceful and transparent process has never been more critical, as the former president has emphasized the importance of addressing key issues related to Electoral Commission and the voters register ahead of the election 2022. Well, it's a good time now to bring in the aid of the former president, Bawa Montagre. She's joined us via Zoom. Thank you for your time here on the Election Brief. Now, let's start with the meeting. What informed this meeting in the first place?
Well, thank you very much. You do know that normally in the course of these elections, we have various groups that are largely interested in what happens in any upcoming election. Indeed, I believe that the West African Elders Forum has been working since 2020. So they actually sent us a letter that they were in town and we were visiting some key stakeholders, all in the view to ensuring free, fair, and transparent elections. So certainly we actually acquiesced to their request and we received them very warmly in the office of the former president and flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, Mr. John Mahama, this afternoon. The meeting was very, very cordial. Indeed, you know that John Mahama and Goodluck were actually presidents about the same time. And so they've shared this very warm camaraderie all these years later. And so it was almost like a meeting of two old friends who were literally trying to encourage and motivate one another. But yes, Excellency Goodluck was actually here on a mission, trying very, very hard to ensure that our elections go on peacefully. I'm sure you know that Ghanaian elections have become literally one of the ones to watch. And this year, as we're going into all these many elections, it's actually still important that groups such as the West African Elders Forum will be calling on key stakeholders in the upcoming election. I'm sure you also do know, because I saw quite a number of your reporters here earlier, that the conversation was actually on and about peace during, before, and after the elections, matters to do with the Electoral Commission, matters to do with government stance and posturing, stakeholder issues, and largely bordering on conversations that we hope will all come together to ensure that we do all have a very peaceful and successful 2024 elections.
That brings me to my next question. You raised some of the key issues that came up in this meeting, calls for peace. Now, the NDC has been criticized because of its stance when it comes to signing the peace pact. Did this come up in the meeting? Has your stance changed?
Well, certainly, you know, they would definitely come up. But you see, the question is that what are the ingredients that actually end up peace? And as I keep telling all, Mr. Mahama was in office. Indeed, in 2016, we signed a similar peace agreement, if you remember. And so naturally, he's not someone who is averse on any day to signing any such agreement. But you see, we don't want a situation where this will become almost like a bait. You understand? I believe that I heard the national chairman speak and say that if indeed the NPP is committed to the signing of this particular agreement, then let's have the Inspector General of Police, let's have the Electoral Commissioner as well, so that we all know that all the key stakeholders to this particular election are all part of the process. But be that as it may, there are also some considerations that ought to be made. Remember that we've actually been protesting at the level of partisanship of some members of the Electoral Commission. The fact that Dr. Apiahin is a former operative of the New Patriotic Party is a matter of public record. It also came up for discussion. Second, there's issues to do with the voter registration. And you know that as we approach the election, 8 weeks to the election, that the NDC does not have the full complement of the voter register. We are going also into a time when the EC itself has come to tell you and I that they are going to be exhibiting the voters register online. Not all Ghanaians who have registered or transferred their votes are actually, available online or even have access to online portals, for example. In any case, it is just a few weeks to the election. The NDC asked for a forensic audit of the electoral register. We've been told that various corrections that the NDC required or requested are actually being made. We've also had another situation where the EC decided that this year they were not going to use the indelible ink. I'm sure you know the indelible ink is also provided for under CI 127. So there are many things that currently have issues with, and I believe that we all know what is happening at IPAC. They have all these other smaller political parties that I believe are only there to sing to the tune of the EC and of course to the government. And so the NDC appears to be on its own. But thankfully, I'm sure that I've heard a few other concerned citizens, for example, speak largely to matters of concern regarding the upcoming election. Look, I have no doubt in my mind that in the aftermath of the launch of the People's Manifesto by the National Democratic Congress, and by the fact that we have a very experienced ticket made up of John Mahama and Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, that we are literally poised to win this election. All we want to say is that we expect the umpire, that is the EC, to sit up without prejudice, without bias, to deliver on safe, fair, and peaceful elections. That's all we are asking for. If we come up with any issues that we have with the register, it is within our legitimate right so to do. If we have no such concerns, why would we raise them? We all observe what happened even at the balloting for the numbers. I mean, please, that was totally shameful and embarrassing. That where we are now, even for FIFA, when they go to do the ballots, this is not how to approach it. You understand? We can actually introduce even more transparency than what we are seeing. We also had reason and cause to speak also about all the issues that we had raised also with the voters register, with the fact that we expect them to conduct themselves in a manner that is also, going to assure us that the elections are indeed going to be fair and balanced. You know that, look, there are all sorts of things that we talk about, and one of the issues is about also, and the General Secretary raises, weaponization of our courts and the number of judges that are being packed onto, because they anticipate that maybe there might be a cause for a certain conversation that may lead up to a process of a petition and what have you. Look, we even heard President Akufo-Addo speak very, very boldly that he wasn't going to hand over to John Mahama. I mean, it does not lie in President Akufo-Addo's mouth to determine whether he is going to hand over or not.
So your stance doesn't change, basically.
The same process of democracy that actually handed over power peacefully by John Mahama to President Akufo-Addo is the same process that the Constitution puts in place for Mr. Akufo-Addo on his exit from office. And I have no doubt in my mind that judging by the hardship, judging by the corruption, judging by the level of pollution of our water bodies and the fact that they continue to disingenuously continue to issue these licenses to continue to destroy our water bodies, the whole attempt to seek any form of equalization will not wash.
Okay.
Basically, we are all asking for the Electoral Commission to sit up and do the needful. The Electoral Commission should sit up and be fair, should sit up and be a fair and transparent and unbiased umpire for the upcoming elections. Don't forget that the EC had told us that they even had intended to try and bring the elections forward.
Okay.
So if we're going to hold the elections in November, for example, will they now be telling us that they are going to be...
questions you're asking, Joyce. Unfortunately, I have to let you go at this point. But thank you for your time here on Election Brief. Now, the presidential candidate for PNP, Janet Nabila, has weighed in on the ongoing Galamsey crisis, urging the Vice President and the MPP flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, to immediately consult with President Akufo-Addo and the Speaker of Parliament to convene an emergency parliamentary session to ban illegal mining. Now, in a birthday message marking Bawumia's 61st birthday, Nabila warned that delaying action until after the election could leave little room for growth. Now, she stressed that bold measures now will not only protect the nation's natural resources, but also ensure a secure future for generations to come. Well, she joins us in the studio shortly to have that conversation. But on your screens now is that statement from Janet. It says, "On behalf of the People's National Party, I extend my warmest birthday wishes to you," referring to the Vice President. "As you celebrate this special day, I urge you to reflect on the state of our beloved country, particularly the devastating impact of illegal mining on our lands, water bodies, and the health of our people." Women and children in particular, are the hardest hit by this crisis, as our farmlands are being ravaged and water sources poisoned, leading to the spread of serious diseases like cancer. The future of our nation is at risk. I believe your birthday presents a unique opportunity to address this urgent matter. While banning Galamsey may seem politically challenging, fearing its potential impact on your election fortune, you still have a window to act decisively. And she joins us with more in the studio. She goes on to say she encourages the Vice President to consult with the President and the Speaker of Parliament to call for an emergency parliamentary meeting. Why an emergency parliamentary meeting, though?
Let me greet you and your viewers this afternoon.
Yes.
We've all heard from both political, especially the two political parties, laying accusations and counter-accusations against each other. So to us, from the PNP, we have realized that Galamsey has become a very serious situation, and the two parties, they are leveling allegations against each other. So we are asking Parliament to come in to be the decider. When Parliament is the decider, then the consequences will not be leveled against either MPP or the NDC, because the Galamsey mania in our society has become a canker, and none is ready to solve it, because the presidency is now there, and we were expecting that the president should have taken a bold step. And one of the things they are also saying is that whilst they are trying to take a bold step, then the NDC, on the other hand, is going around to the Galamsey areas, encouraging them to vote for them so that when they come, they will make life better. So they too, they will not do it. But most of this situation is causing a whole lot of harm to women and children in these communities. When we talk about those in the agricultural sector, 90% of women are into peasant farming. And when we talk about the people that are not going to school and are now in Galamsey areas helping to do Galamsey, it is our children. So children and women are the hardest hit. I have seen a lot of men coming on board to talk, and I've seen that women have, we've been quiet. as if we are not being affected. But for the PNP, I thank God that I'm a woman and I'm also a political head of a political party. We intend to fight this with our lives. We will go on demonstration, we will organize symposiums to make sure that we put pressure on government to come in to find a solution for this problem. Using parliament will help all of us. It will not be an MPP or NDC. It will be the two political parties coming on board to ban Galamsey. We are not talking about don't mine on our water bodies, don't mine on forest reserves. We are saying that Galamsey, we should put a complete ban on Galamsey to save our environment, save us of health issues, and also save our water bodies. That is what we are saying from the PNP.
In your statement as well, you want a ban on illegal mining, but illegal mining is already illegal. In fact, you can't practice that. Are you pushing for all forms of mining to be banned? Can you clarify for us?
I'm talking about the small-scale mining. I think that we should ban small-scale mining in the country. When you look at Australia, they have more gold than Ghana, but they refuse to mine because destroying their environment will not, and then getting the type of gold that will listen. When they weighed the two, they decided that they will not mine. So the gold that they are talking about, to what benefit is it having on the people of Ghana? A lot of people have been telling me that we have about 500 youth that are into mining. So we should allow the 500 youth to destroy an entire 32 or more Ghanaians. For what purpose? So whatever anyone will say at this particular moment is neither here nor there. And if the government should go ahead to ban Galamsey and also ban all politicians from using it to do campaign and other things, I think that it will save all of us. So that is what we are saying.
Let's talk about your party. Unfortunately, you've been disqualified from the race. Parties like the PPP, they're contesting it in court. Should we expect you to go to court as well?
In fact, we've written to Ghanaians that we are not going to court.
Why?
The last time I came here, I told you how we sent our case to the court and how it turned out. So having that experience, I don't think the court is the way to go now, because we go to court to look for justice. So when you go to court and at the end of the day, they give you a judgment that you know that this judgment, there's something wrong with the judgment. People will say that you should continue. It's not everyone that has that courage and the heart to continue to go into our judicial system the way it is now. But our prayer is that God will help us, because this is not the type of, I don't want to say much about it.
I can see you're very passionate. So is it the case that you've lost confidence totally in the judicial system?
Total confidence. Listen, I've lost total confidence in the judicial system. That is the reason why I did not go to court. I've told my my colleagues who are also gunning to go to court that, listen, you will go to court and come out with nothing to write home about. So I think that I've lost confidence. Personally, I've lost confidence, and my party has equally done same. So they called for a meeting and said that we should not pursue the case. So that's why we are not pursuing the case in court.
We have just a few more months to the elections. Would you throw your weight behind any political party?
Our party, we are still doing that because we are looking at the political parties, looking at their manifestos, looking at their leadership qualities. And then we are going to call a National Executive Committee meeting and then check through the political parties and throw our weight in fighting for our country. We have to. We have to.
Thank you, Janet, for joining us here on Election Brief. And that's it for our show today. For more news, please log on to myjohnwine.com. My name is Faustina Safo. Good afternoon.